Hello and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another week in my life vlog. This is gonna be a, as usual, busy and hopefully very productive week. My main mission for the week is to get started on outlining. So we are past the halfway point of this semester. Last week was week 7 and I was there 14 weeks of class approximately. So we're past the halfway point, and so I'm really wanting to get ready and start putting together outlines and putting together my study materials. So I find that I started these around this time last semester, and it was definitely very helpful to have started early so that I wasn't just like doing all of it at the very end. Having outlines ready so that I was more focused on, you know, actually reviewing the content of them around finals time. It's very helpful rather than scrambling to throw together the study guide as you're like studying. It helps. So that is kind of on the agenda for this week. I started a little bit of my Civ Pro 1 over the weekend, and I'm going to hopefully do a little bit more work on that today. And then also I'm going to hopefully start both my criminal law and my con law outlines this week as well. I also have a lot of research to do for my open research project for my legal writing class. The paper itself is not due for a very long time. It's not due until like the beginning of, the first draft is due beginning of April, and so I have many weeks. But next week we have our oral research presentations, so I have to have done most of the research and have generally kind of what my argument is in place by next week. So a little tight turnaround on that one. So definitely going to prioritize that research. At some point I will also probably get feedback on my criminal law paper that I wrote this weekend / Friday. I wrote it all on Friday. I did actually follow through on the end of that last vlog and literally just cranked out the rest of it. So at some point I'll probably get feedback back on that. So that's another thing on the to-do list. It's just a very busy week, as they all are. Also, this is just, this is so funny. So last semester, all of my professors were like very consistent with their reading assignments and with their, you know, following the syllabus. So we got assignments at the beginning of the semester, and the things that we did in class were what were on the syllabus for that class. And I have one class, my criminal law class this semester is just, it's so all over the place. There was one vlog somewhere where I was like reading at 6 a.m. because he emailed us like either super late or super early, being like, actually I'm changing the reading for today. And today he did it during class. Like my professor legitimately changed what we were supposed to have read for class during class. And everyone was like, no one has read this case. We don't know what's happening. I don't know. That's so strange to me. Like, I am purposely on top of my readings and on top of getting things done that are assigned, and then to go into class and have it just be a completely different set of cases than what was actually assigned for today is just wild and chaotic in a way that I'm not a fan of. And I like chaos most of the time, but it's a little too much even for me. I don't know. I just think in general, there are certain professors whose teaching styles I've clicked with, and certain professors whose teaching styles I've just kind of been like, what's happening here? And yeah, I think this is one of the latter. So that's just, it's just how it is. It's just different law school professors have very different ways of going about things, and some of them are a little more off the wall than others. I have finished my reading for the night, so I've now moved on to outlining. So this is what my Civ Pro outline looks like at the very beginning. So I have basically, I took the structure from my professor's syllabus. I usually either do that, or if there's not a structure in the syllabus, I'll use the structure of the casebook, but basically have kind of big titles, and I might make these larger text eventually when I fill up the page, if it ends up looking better that way. And then I will this is all through things that we've covered so far, so we haven't gotten any farther than that. So like I'll add in more headings when we get to that point, but for now I'm obviously not going to outline things that we haven't even covered in class yet. So this is what we have, and then I start plugging in, you know, information. So I have this on my one screen, and then on my monitor over here is where I have my notebook with all of my stuff for class. So I have like all of my notes in here, and then I have my like weekly outline stuff with all of the good things in here. So basically I can just use this to start pulling information over and building my outline based on that. I also occasionally like to use like previous 1L outlines if I have them. This professor has like specifically said to not do that, so I am trying to follow that advice. So I'm basically relying exclusively on my notes for this particular outline. So we're just gonna do some work on that tonight. Let's go. All Too Well is somehow really cathartic to just sing while outlining. Anyways, 45 minutes later and I have this. So, oh, yep, there we go. It's a good chunk of information. This is basically, I got all the way through personal jurisdiction, which was kind of my goal for the night. So, woo, we're done outlining on this one for a little bit, but that's basically, that's what this looks like, as I just have bullet points and I have cases and general principles, all that fun stuff. And for Civ Pro in particular, I'm basically just keeping a giant table of contents at the beginning of all of the statutes and federal rules and what they mean, because there are a lot of them and they are really important to keep track of. So it felt important to like have them in their own defined section. Yes, I do have a different shade of equally dramatic, possibly more dramatic lipstick on today than I did yesterday. It's a thing. I also like raised my hand during class, so there's no doubt that people saw. So that's apparently the point that I've reached, that I'm just like, I will show up to class in great lipstick and just be like, yep, this is a thing. So I don't know what that says, but that's where we're at. And I have, you know, it's been a day. I've done all the things today. I had my class in the morning. I met with my professor and picked up my draft, and he had a bunch of comments. So at some point I will go through and make those edits, but not today because I don't have time today. So had that, and then went to the gym, got stuck on my street again with construction, and I'm just aggressively counting down the days until I get to move to a different part of St. Louis that does not suck as much. And then had my 2 classes here in Zoom world sitting at my desk. Went to another judicial conversation that my school is putting on, because I just have been going to as many of them as I can, especially the ones that are like relevant to my interests or things like that. And so today's was a Vermont Supreme Court justice who was part of legalizing gay marriage in Vermont. So that's a topic that I'm very interested in, so went to that. And then now I have some reading to do. So I'm going to do my crim law reading for Thursday, and then am finally going to get started on doing research for my brief that I have to write at some point, but have to present on research next week and have not started the research yet. So that should definitely get done at some point. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward. Ooh, I don't know why my voice just cracked. It's a pretty straightforward day. Nothing overly exciting, other than the fact that I've just been like on a wild self-confidence trip today, which has been fun, and is part of the reason that I think I had no shame in wearing wildly out there lipstick to class. So that's fun. We love a day when we just wake up and we're like,
I look great. So it was also probably due to the fact, if you saw the first half of my video, I was in like 5-inch heels. Oh, they're right here. They're not 5 inches, but they're pretty, that's not an insignificant heel, and there's something about high-heeled shoes that makes me feel powerful. So something about those shoes just made me feel like I could take over the world, and that's the vibe that we went into today with, and so we've just been cruising on that one. We are having some fun over here. So for useful backstory, my apartment keys, when I was given them, were on a very terrible key ring that was really nothing more than just like a wire bent around in the shape of a key ring. Like, I don't even think it was ever once a key ring. It was that deformed and useless. And I've had my keys on it since I moved in 7 months ago. And I have known, because they have fallen off my key ring multiple times, usually into like my gym bag or on my like car seat. I have known that they are incredibly flimsy and do not keep my keys on with any sense of permanence. However, I am stubborn and have not bothered to get a new key ring or put the keys on the like stable part of my key ring, and as I say as my camera is almost out of call, put them on the more stable part of my key ring for whatever dumb reason. And that finally caught up with me on Sunday, because after going grocery shopping, I realized as I got home that I did not have my apartment keys, and I have a spare key in my car, so it's been fine. I obviously was able to get in my apartment. That being said, not a big fan of just like knowing that my keys are just floating around somewhere in the ether, unclaimed, and obviously not marked to like be like, this is the house that they're used on. But even so, not ideal. Also, not to mention that one of them is my mail key, and I don't have an extra copy of that, so I haven't been able to get into my actual mailbox. And I finally got around to calling, and the 2 places I went, which were Target and Trader Joe's, and I think Trader Joe's found a set of keys on a key ring that should not be a key ring, so I'm pretty sure those are mine. So I have 35 minutes until my class starts, and I am going to attempt to get to Trader Joe's and get back. If not, I will join my legal practice class on Zoom on my phone while I finished coming back home, but I figured I would just go right now while the person who found them and has them on his desk is still there, and like this conversation is relatively fresh. So anyways, that's eventful, fun stuff, and dumb things that you absolutely should not do. I feel like this, coupled with my LSAT video, is proof that someone can be decently smart enough to get into law school, and genuinely completely stupid at the same time. Why am I like this? Update. I do have my keys back. This is what I meant. This is not a key ring. This should never have been a key ring. And it's really sad that this is the thing that's finally motivating me to put these keys on my actual key ring. I'm still gonna keep the extra key somewhere else, but yeah, they're now going on a very sturdy key ring. I'm so stupid. This is, why did I do this? Anyways, I have 20 minutes to get home and log on to class, so we've got time, but this was a fun side quest for the day. Well, after that really fun debacle, rest of day was fine. I got back in time for class, so I didn't have to log on my phone, which was good. And then had a meeting afterwards for event planning stuff, and also met other people who applied to the same grad program as me. So, I mean, I knew them, but like found out that they also applied to the same grad program. So that's cool.
I don't know. None of us know when we're gonna find out. So at least we're all on the same page there. And then I went to the gym, came back, did reading, and I am now about to get started on my crim law outline. So we're starting outline number 2. I also had, wonderfully, one of my professors from last semester reached out to me about an event that she's putting on, and it was like, it seems like something you'd be interested in. Do you want to go? And I do. So I love that. I love, you know, like making professor connections. That's always nice. And then I also set up an appointment with someone in career services to just chat on Friday, because I'm still waiting to hear back from 2 places that I interviewed, but I'm also just kind of like generally panicky because I mean, I'm still waiting to hear back, but like I also still don't have an answer, and it's kind of stressful to not know, and I'm just wanting to get more guidance on the whole process because yeah, there's no reason that it should be this stressful, and yet it is. So I'm gonna see if someone can just either calm me down or give me advice on what I'm doing wrong. So, but for now, we outline. Like my last one, I am doing kind of a similar format, and I'm doing a lot of the basic structural stuff tonight, and then I'm gonna try to do like the first section of it. My criminal law class doesn't have a lot of like cases that are defining cases, so my outline is gonna look a little bit different, because there's not as many that you're like, you know, with civil procedure there are like certain cases that like define the standard for things. That's not as much of a thing in criminal law, at least in the way that my professor has taught it. There's not as many like seminal cases in that, so it's much more like broader principles and definitions and understanding how the like common law is set up versus the model penal code and all of that stuff. So this outline is going to be more geared to that teaching style than my Civ Pro one, which is more geared to the other way of doing things. All right, like last time, this is about the product of 45 minutes worth of work. And so, yeah, I've just got a bunch of principles and all the constitutional limits, which is kind of my first section. And then I'll, you know, do these sections later, but sort of got them blocked out based on kind of what I think the structure is going to be. And then, yeah, I've got all of this fun stuff. So definitely made some good progress, and we're happy with that. So that's 2 out of 3. Yay. I'm literally sitting in the gym parking lot, and I was about to walk in, and then I realized that I wanted to film this while my bangs still looked good, which is a terrible reason to do anything, but vanity is a motivator. So yeah. I love just like going wildly off with no direction in things. My crim law professor, after having written my entire draft and like gotten feedback, made a comment today during class that apparently at some point somewhere along the way, like not in a syllabus or in any written assignment, he has mentioned that the papers only need to be 5 to 10 pages. And I assumed because the sample he uploaded was 14 that it needed to be closer to that. And apparently no, 5 to 10. Mine's longer, so it's fine. He's fine with us going over. Also, I finally got around to reading most of his comments. They're handwritten. Some of them are a little illegible, and or I'm just gonna need to like work them out for a little bit to try to figure out what those letters are. But I think I can read most of them, and for the most part it's really tiny little like grammatical edits, and then a couple of like expand on this point just a little bit. So that's good. Yeah, for it technically being longer than the required length. The only comments are like, you could
say more about this. So it's gonna get longer. I'm following his directions, so you can't complain. We're sitting outside the gym. I'm going to go get my workout in really quickly because I have a meeting that I have to be at noon, and it is 10 o'clock now, so I need to work out, get home, shower, show up on Zoom. So we're gonna go do that. I am done with class. I am done with, I just did more research for my open brief. So found a bunch of cases, like a solid number, that will work, and it was a lot easier this time than it was last semester because there's just a lot more information on the case, and I'm not digging on like state law stuff, which was kind of part of the issue last semester. Was like I was like very narrowly stuck in state law, and like now I can like do a lot of like Supreme Court stuff, which is a lot easier to find, and there's like a really clear like, you know, guidance of the case law. So that's good. I basically plugged all of it into a spreadsheet with kind of just like relevant notes and factors, and I will probably do some more research and like fine-tune things this weekend, but off to, I guess, like a solid start for giving my oral research presentation, which is basically kind of walking through all of the cases I found and kind of the general information, which I will have to do next week. And I think I'm probably on pretty solid footing for that. So I'm gonna try to find maybe this weekend, maybe 1 or 2 more cases on like relevant, like maybe narrower points of law that build my point, and then start kind of outlining and planning my general kind of argument and what we're gonna say. I really think Legal Practice has just decided to test me this semester. Both of these assignments, both of them, half of our class, like half of the entire 200-person law school class, half of the professors have one side of the brief that they're, like one side of the issue that they're arguing, and the other half have the opposite side. And both times I have gotten the side that I do not want to be arguing. Like, I disagree with this, and somehow I have to turn it into persuasive writing. So, you know, that's a fun challenge, and not something I'm particularly enjoying, but I guess it'll make me a better lawyer. So at some point tonight, I'm gonna do like a video call with some friends. We've been reading the same book, and so we're gonna do like a little like book group discussion type thing. Like we're being all fancy. So I'm gonna do that first, and then I have my like weekly outlines that I need to do. My face is so shiny and it's bothering me. Weekly outlines, that's what we were talking about. I'm still doing those. I do those in addition to, it's different from the outlines that I am doing for like exams. It's just my like review, and I keep doing that even as I'm like building my other outlines. And it's just helpful for me as like weekly review. And then I get like even farther back review as I start making my like actual like fancy Word document outlines. We also had the meeting that I was at noon today is about like clinics, which is the law school like experiential learning type things. So basically you are put in this clinic with the professor guiding you, but you are working on a lot of like real life issues and real life cases, and there are a lot that I'm really interested in. And so they have preference for third year, so me applying, like obviously like I'm not like guaranteed a spot, and I'm not even like they take all the 3Ls before they'll even look at us. So that, like, it makes sense, but so who knows, but I am going to apply to do one next year anyways, because I am really interested in doing multiple. And so if I can do, you know, one this year and then one next year, that'd be great. Alternatively, I don't know, I don't have enough information about this like theoretical grad program that I could be doing. I don't know if I could do a clinic my 4th year. I don't know how this works.
I assume that if I get in, I will get directions that tell me how registering for classes work. But right now, everything is kind of a big question mark, which is fun and chaotic, as are many other things in my life right now. So we're just embracing the unknown, which is, yeah, that's fun. I am wearing a top. I don't know, I just felt the need to make that disclaimer. It's just a strapless one and my jacket's falling off my shoulders because it's not zipped up. I don't know. That just felt like an important thing to point out, that I'm not like filming a vlog topless. I don't think anyone would assume that I was, but just in case you were so inclined to believe that, no. It's Friday, we're doing things. So class this morning, and then had some time to edit a video and get it scheduled for next week. So I'm ahead of the game there, which is fun. Another judicial conversation. This one was moderated by my property professor from last semester, and she's great, so I wanted to go. Also because it was like a judge working at a federal appellate level, which is kind of cool and is my ideal clerkship anyways. So did that, did a little home yoga class after that, so I don't have time to get over to the gym today, and so just did a nice little flexibility yoga thing. Met with someone from the Career Center to just go over things, and go over my life and where we're at now. So because I'm still floating in the air on offers, and yeah, that's not ideal at this point. So we're trying to pull something together. So that's the fun of the 1L job hunt, which has just clearly been a cluster for me. So I still have things waiting like up in the air that I haven't heard back on. So like it's not like I'm completely shooting from the hip at this point, but definitely going to spend some time doing some more applications tonight just to keep the ball rolling. I was doing really good about like keeping up, like continuing to apply for things, and then like these past 2 weeks I have had like really like heavy classwork, like memo stuff, and then I had like my paper for my criminal law class last week, and so it's just that like school has taken up so much of my time that I haven't been able to like dedicate time to that as well. Also the whole applying to grad school thing, which is, you know, another thing on top of there. So yeah, gotta do a few more applications, just send some more things out, and at least have that under my belt. I'm also about to start my con law outline, so it's the last of the 3, and we're gonna get things rolling on that. It's the same sort of plan going as I did for my criminal law outline. I'm gonna try to get the whole like structural pieces set up and then start plugging in for the first like unit of things that we've done. I'm gonna start plugging in notes and comments and all of that stuff, and charts and important things to know. And here is outline number 3. So this is what I've done today. I've done all of the justiciability, judicial review doctrines, and we'll come back for the other stuff, and then obviously we'll add more things as we cover them in class. But we're off to a start. So now all 3 of them have been started, and I feel like I'm in a good place. Somehow I really think starting outlines is like the worst part, just because you don't know where to begin. I definitely have more of a sense of that this semester because I've kind of figured out, I've like made outlines for the first time last semester, so I like know how to do it. But I do think that like starting it and like figuring out how you want to organize the ideas and the concepts and figuring out how to translate all of your notes. I say gesturing to my giant monitor because that's what I'm looking at. I realize that looks very strange on camera. Figuring out how to like turn that into something more compact and like unified and organized is a process, but I've gotten it out of the way for all 3 of my classes, so I think I'm pretty proud of that.
Well, I always try to, you know, make these vlogs realistic and an accurate reflection of what it's like to be in law school, so I feel like it would be weird for me to not acknowledge that I just had like a complete mental breakdown over this whole job search thing. And it's funny because, like, I know that, like, I probably a few minutes earlier was just talking about how, like, I got guidance from, like, a person in the career center telling me, like, giving me a path to keep going and, like, all this stuff, and, like, objectively, I have that, but sometimes it just really sucks. Yeah, it's a time. It's weird and frustrating because, like, I don't know, like, they tell you, like, law school grades are, like, the most important thing, and, like, that'll be, like, and so then you're like, okay, cool, so I have the good grades, why don't I have a job? Why does everyone else I know have one? So, that's where I'm at, and just kind of trying to not feel like a complete failure. So yeah, we're gonna go for a drive, and I am going to go to Chick-fil-A and get fries and mac and cheese for dinner, because that's just kind of where we are, and then I will come home and apply for things, because that was on my agenda for tonight. And yeah, I was on the phone with my mom and she was like, oh, you should take the evening off, and I was like, that will just turn into a spiral of anxiety about the fact that I'm not doing things. So I will still be doing things tonight, but I'm giving myself at least a little bit of time to back off. So I'm gonna go get food and also gas, because my car is about to run out of gas. Yeah, so that's the note we're ending this vlog on, I guess. Sorry about that. Yeah. It's a roller coaster, and we are at the bottom right now. Love that. I'll see you next week.